Today, I will do the Nintendo story of the day, right? And why? Just because today has been announced the Switch 2, not very precisely, but we should see, let's put it we should see the Switch 2 console by March 2025, which is a great news. And we don't know much yet about this console, apart from the fact that it keeps the hybrid format of the Switch, meaning that you can play either on your TV or just at the handheld, which is why it's the Switch 2. And we are not really surprised. Actually, the guys already talked a few weeks, maybe months ago, about what Switch 2 could be. So if you can find this video in the hundreds of video we made, you could see that. But that's a story for another time. And a famous leaker known as Coup Beating Around the Bush, or KHU, or let's say Coup Beating Around the Bush, leaked the fact that there's 3 Pokemon games which are already being worked for the Switch 2. And that's a great news. Why? Because when the Switch came out, say if you have a PlayStation or just Nintendo, right? It's nearly impossible to have a new console and not have a brand new Mario game on it right away. It should be the same for Pokemon, but for the Switch, you had to wait 20 months, so nearly 2 years before seeing the first Pokemon games, which were, I put it somewhere, but that was a Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu game. And after this, they made on average 2 games a year. There was the Scarlet and Violet, there was the Arceus, there was the Detective Pikachu, etc., etc. But there was plenty. And if you're asking, no, I don't think there's any Pokemon game planned for 2024. They are all focusing on the 2025 Switch 2 game. And one of the game which has been confirmed, so that's the Pokemon Legends. So Arceus was a Pokemon Legends. That would be the second game of Pokemon Legends. And it's called 𝙎𝙬𝙪𝙥𝙦 or something like this. I put it somewhere, but it's just, that's the name, Pokemon Legends 𝙎𝙬𝙪. So that's one of the 3 games which is coming up. The other 2 games, I don't know if they count, for instance, Scarlet and Violet. Is it 2 games or is it? So this of Stadium, it's been a while. But yes, on the Switch 2, in 2025, you are sure to get at least 1 Pokemon games, maybe 3, which is a great news for the attractivity of a new Switch console. So we wish them the best, and I'm definitely going to take a look at the specs of this new Switch because it looks very interesting.
Somebody was talking about a potential feature of the new one. They were saying instead of using rails to get the Joy-Cons to slide in, they were saying that they might be magnetic. So they'll just snap onto the sides. And as a result, they might be adding an extra button to them. So I think like what the Switch only has the 1 button on the top, right? I think they were saying they might be adding 2 buttons on the top to be in line with the Xbox and PlayStation. So they might get that extra button on there. So we'll see.
I
Yeah.
would be scared to go too strong and such a declip.
I don't know how that would work exactly. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I guess what you could do is you could have, instead of sliding in and snapping them in, I guess you could have a bar or something so it slides into a slot and then the magnetic thing so it doesn't really bend, it just holds it in. And I'm sure there's ways around it. Yeah, to me, that was my first thought too, is wouldn't that just fall off?
I will add that I read this a bit differently, right? I read that the possible announcement of a Switch 2 would come before March of next year. That means that potentially we'd only get a Switch 2 in 2025, maybe Christmas 2025. It will be announced within the next financial quarter, which was March 2025. So to me, this sort of rises, like what we talked about before on the show, Antoine, is that they were having big hardware issues, right? Why they had a Switch OLED, right? And now they're not doing a Switch OLED for the Switch 2, right? This is Switch LCD, right? They were having TSMC, wherever is having fabrication issues. They aren't producing enough yields for the Switch 2 processors. So that, again, there are not going to be enough units available for, and again, the Switch being one of the biggest console sellers in our lifetimes, it's going to be huge demand. And of course, if they release it this year and then 1 million people can buy it, right? That was another story we led with, I believe, last year, where there were like 1 million units for the entire world if they were going to release it. No, that's ridiculous, right? How many people bought Helldivers 2 and how many countries are there in the world? That's no. you'll learn so much bad PR and karma and all the things that no one will ever buy another Nintendo console again, right? Like if I have to pre-order it and wait 6-7 months, that's I think unfortunately we're not going to get one until next year, and that's going to leave the room for what Adam's story, right? A potential Samsung handheld, right? Asus here in Taiwan has done so well with their ROG Ally, which is why I decided to buy that, because it's better than the Steam Deck. It's better than the Lenovo Legion Go. That is on top of all reviews, it ranks number one, right? And then that leaves a space for Samsung to say, yes, we made this for the ROG Ally. We made this for the MSI Claw. Let's just take the best components and put it all together into our own device and make our own thing. So it's just, I think all these devices are not going to eat into a Nintendo market, but they are going to make a significant dent, because now you have, like me, who's going to be buying an ROG Ally and will probably buy far fewer Switch games despite the sales moving into the future. And I'm definitely not going to buy a Switch 2 because I don't want a game at 720p in 2025, because that sucks, honestly.
I forgot, but of course, if you like this quite short news, actually, make sure to check the next video. I'm going to do this now, okay? It pops up here or here, whatever. It's going to pop up somewhere. Just check out